Hello guys, today's video is I want to show you how you can access a remote Linux server. You want to log in remotely to a Linux server. How do you do that? Using SSH. We are going to use SSH to remotely log into the system. That means I'm not going to go to the screen of that server and log into it. I'm logging it through another system. I'm in another system that I want to remotely connect to a remote system. So now, for instance, I'm in a virtual Linux machine, RH1. So I want to connect to a remote one. That means another one. So before that, I need to get the IP address. I need to get the IP address of the remote Linux machine that I want to remotely connect to. So to do that, I'm going to run the command IPA. I can type IP address in full. I'm just using the shortcut. IP8 command will give me the IP. So what is the IP address of this particular operating Linux machine? So look at the interface. This is the unique interface. ENS160 is the unique interface of the Linux machine or PC. So look at the init now. This is the IP address 192.168.111.133. That's the IP address. So let me go back to the remote one. This is a remote one. Look at this particular one, the IP of this one. Let me give you the IP of this. So the IP of this one is 128. Look at this. It needs 192.168.111.128. So I'm going to remotely connect to the 133 Linux machine. So how do I do that? To do that, on my terminal of my terminal of my machine, I'll type SSH. Then which user on that remote machine that I want to use to connect to it. So there's a user service on that remote machine. So I'm using that to connect to it that now specify the IP address. The IP address of the remote machine, Linux machine that I want to connect to it remotely. .111.133. With this command, I'll just press enter. So it's not asking me that remote username on that remote machine, Samis, what's the password? So I'll type it. So I've logged in. So how do I know if I've logged in? First, I ask, who am I? I don't have Samis on the machine that I used to log in remotely. That is Samis Paco. This is Samis. So I'm on the remote Linux server right now. The remote, I've connected to it remotely using SSH. I'm on it right now. So I want to see the working directory. This is the working directory. So let's check the IP. So for us to be very sure, let's check the IP. So you know that I'm on the remote machine now. Look at the IP. 11.133. So I'm connected to it remotely, the remote machine. So this is how you use SSH to connect to a remote machine. You don't want to go to the screen on that and locally connect to it. You can, as long as they are on the same network, you can use SSH to connect to it. I can also use root if I want to use. Let's go and use root. So I'll exit it now. I want to terminate the connection by exiting it. If I exit now, so you can see, if I say, who am I now? I'm on my local machine, which is the user that I'm using is Samis Paco. If I check the IP of my local machine, check my IP of my local machine, you can see it's 11.128. It ends with 192.168.11.128. So let's use root. Let's use root to connect to it. Let me clear screen. So I want to use root to connect to it. So let's use root. So let's go. It will ask me for the root password. So this time I'm going to specify root password. I'm specifying root password. So I'm here. How do I know? Who am I? Host name. What's the name of the remote machine? This is the name of the remote machine. And that's how we are seeing it here. This is the name of the remote. So now I'm connected through root. So I've logged in to that remote machine as user root. So specify the IP address for you to know that on the remote machine 192.168.1.133. I'm on the remote machine now. If I want to terminate the connection, I'll just use exit. Exit to terminate it. So is it possible for me to use SSH to connect through using the host name of that a particular remote machine? I want to use the host name to connect. I don't want to use the IP address. Is it possible? So let's try it. Which is RHEL. That's the host name. That's the name of the. So can my machine resolve the host name to the IP address, then connect to it? You have to resolve it. You have to resolve the host name now to IP address of that remote server, then connect to it. Let's see if we can resolve it with the host name and connect to that particular remote machine. So let me just press enter. Let's see if it's going to get it to it. So what it's going to do, there is a configuration file, etc/host on my local server. Is going to go there and search. Do I have this host name in the configuration server? So to give it the IP address, it's going to search that. So you couldn't get it. You couldn't get it. So let me show you what we have in the configuration file. So look at it. So we do not have an entry for that remote server. So you could not get the IP address, cannot resolve that host name to IP address. So the connection failed. So if I want it to use the host name to connect to that remote server, so I'm going to edit this particular file, etc/hosts. I'm going to edit it. I'll edit it. To edit it, no, I'm using a normal user. I have to have a temporary elevated privilege. That's why I'm using sudo to do that. So I'm using text editor VI. I want to use text editor VI to ask me for password so I can have access to that file. So I use a text editor. It seems I didn't type it correctly. Let's see now. Let's type it correctly and see. Okay, we are on the file now. So you can see it, etc hostname. So I have to create an entry. To create an entry you have to create an entry for it. So I have to put the password, the IP address of that remote Linux server 192.168.111.133. So I put the what? The name, the host name there. So next time I want to access it remotely using SSH, it will be able to resolve it. It will resolve it now. Let's save it. Let's save the file. No, it has been saved. So let's try to do the SSH again and see if it will resolve it and access it. So asking me for the password of that remote user. Can see it's looking to it now, and it's telling me that I'm logging through this host. I'm logging to the remote this host 111.128. So who am I now? I am root, host name, RHEL, IP address for us to be sure that we are now connected to the remote server. We are working on the remote server now. So you see now. So the video, making it short and precise, this is how you connect to a remote Linux server using SSH. So guys, go and try it on your own and let me know how did you do. Were you able to do it? Were you able to connect to the remote server So let's know. Give me type it on the comment section. So, and if you're having issue, ask your question. I'm going to respond. Cheers, guys.